call to order the workshop of the Effingham County Board of Commissioners, November the 5th, 2019, 4:05 p.m. Sorry, we're a little tardy on this. Consideration of resolution to approve the agenda, which is a workshop. Motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Question by Mr. Rhodes, second by Mr. Weber to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. So we have two items of discussion in the workshop. We will take the clerk ordinance first. And I'm not sure who's going to lead out of that discussion.
Which are we doing first?
Truck ordinance.
Truck ordinance, okay.
I think that'll be the quickest thing.
All right. Okay.
And really probably, I guess, I'm assuming everybody's read the ordinance and looked at it, so I might give a little synopsis of some of what this will do.
Sure.
Changes and some of the questions you might have.
While the ordinance loads up, essentially, there was a discussion amongst the commissioners about how to enforce or limit the amount of through truck traffic that uses county roads that do not necessarily have a weight capacity to handle that amount of traffic based on our proximity to the port. The struggle that we've had is that while many of our roads have weight limits, we're somewhat limited on enforcement side on enforcing the actual weight of the truck, whether it's bringing it to the county itself does not have certified scales, nor is GDOT certifying scales, from my understanding, for local jurisdictions. And if we brought it to a third party to get weighed, that obviously is a major ordeal in order to simply cite somebody for driving a vehicle on a road that it wasn't built for. So we wanted to come up with an easier way of enforcement. Commissioner Loper had brought up the possibility of limiting the number of axles. And with that as a basis, I reached out to EOM, our engineering consultant, and they brought up the possibility of restricting truck traffic, heavy truck traffic on local county roads based on the class of the truck itself. But there are protections in this ordinance itself that if you're operating a business locally, if you live locally, if you're getting a delivery or a truck is leaving your facility, that you're protected to use the local roads as long as you're using those local roads to get to a designated truck route. But we do not want to put the burden on those businesses where they actually have to go actually have to backtrack, go backwards from the direction that they're going in order to access that route. The first thing we did was really establish the routes that we'd be looking for truck traffic. So let me get a map up here for folks to see. And
Just trim
And so if you can see on the map that you have there, the red areas are your, what would be determined to be designated truck routes. Most of those are state roads. You can see you've got, and I'll do it up here. You've got 21, you've got Old Augusta, sorry. You've got 119, you've got 30, and then you've got 80. There are little tidbits of 16 and 95, but they're technically, obviously, truck routes. And then Ebenezer, again, a state route. So with the exception of Old Augusta, all the truck routes are state routes. All of them are built to GDOT standards. And so rather than having a truck come across the river and then use local roads, let's say to get down to Old Augusta here, you're going to push them on the roads that can handle the weight. And the county is lucky in that it's got a pretty decent grid system in place where without having to go too far out of the way, you can easily access a truck route. Now, what is the definition of the classes? We basically said anything above a class 6, a class 6 and above, which I know it's difficult to see here, but anything from here to there. So it's multiple axles. You can have everything from a 3-axle cement truck to, I don't even know how many axles that is, but it's a lot. But what it doesn't include are things like school buses, RVs, cars with pull trailers on them, cars with boat trailers on them. The things that normally aren't a problem for our roads with regards to weight and would affect the citizens, the class 5 and above, class 6 and above would really meet those trucking criteria. Having those class of trucks limited to the truck routes, but you can use local roads to get to and from your businesses at the closest applicable route that's going in the direction that your truck is going. I wanted to also address the protections on this because that's a key component. We've got a lot of existing industries here, and so we do have some exceptions, and let me zoom in for you. So it starts off with, drivers of such vehicles defined as commercial, class 6 through 13. What they'll have to have is a bill of lading or work order or receipt for services for an address on a street governed by this section or on a street that must be accessed from the street governed by this section. And nothing in this ordinance shall be construed to prohibit such vehicles from crossing or using such streets as may be necessary to make delivery of articles, perform work, pick up goods from any point along the line of the street, provided that the driver of such vehicles shall have in the cab a bill of lading, work order, receipt for services that bears the address. And so what this does essentially is protect the local businesses and protect the local traffic. Primarily, as I mentioned, this is really for through traffic, folks who are using county roads and making no stops along the way. If you're going from a carrier's terminal facility physically located on a street governed by this section, so whether, even if that street is not a truck route, the facility, if you're going to or from that facility, that is an exception to this. Going to and from a repair facility on this as well. And then if the driver is going to and from the residence or business located on a street governed by this driver's residence or business located to or from here. So if the driver owns the business and it's located in the county, obviously he doesn't need a bill of lading. He can just show that he's the owner of that address or he's going to his particular house. Section 5 really isn't necessary because the class have already eliminated these, but school buses, camping and recreational vehicles, motorhome and wreckers, on-call, emergency vehicles, plainly marked with emergency equipment is exempt from this section. But they'd also be exempt from the class specifications as well. All right, so those are the protections, those are the routes, and those are the classes of the vehicles. That is the basis for the ordinance itself. The sheriff's office, who we've asked to participate in this as well, has reviewed this and believe, and I don't mean to speak for him, that it's enforceable, that's basically the crux of the ordinance itself. It's not too complicated. We think it meets the concerns that the commissioners made regarding through truck traffic in the county, and it can be enacted fairly easily. The one hang up on this is that it will require additional signage. What we'll probably end up doing is removing the weight signage because it kind of creates a situation where a driver can say, well, I know it said no class 5, but it also said the weight, I'm permitted because my weight is under here. So getting rid of that cross message we think is going to be helpful. So we'll replace all that, with a sign that says, no trucks in excess of class, in excess of class 5. So class 5 will be allowed. And the sign itself would also say local traffic only. And then, we could put smaller truck signs to identify the truck routes for the drivers as well. But that's the crux of the ordinance, and if there's any questions, Lee has also reviewed it. We can't get an answer for you today. We can certainly follow up.
Go back on there. That's a couple on number 6. I don't think they would qualify. I mean, they could go on the county maintainer. They'll go back to number 6. That would, he couldn't hardly be overweight. The second one.
Okay.
In the middle one.
Sure. So you're saying
he could be overweight. He couldn't be over the weight. I don't believe he could be.
Correct.
He got 3 axles.
He's got 3 axles, but it's one of those things where it would open up the possibilities, for if we were to allow that one, the 3-axle vehicle, then we'd have to be okay with the other items in class 6 as well. Which we can then, if that were the case, we would then make it in excess of class 6. So it would be heavier cement trucks, dump trucks, and so on and so forth. So it's really what you want to define the limit to be.
Let me pick up on that and see, Reggie, what you think about this. Those 3 trucks I agree with, probably such a cement truck, the other 2 will not ever hit a weight. It's a damage, but this ordinance is not going to prevent any of those trucks from delivering and picking up to a business. This is the ones coming through South Carolina or
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying,
Yeah. So for that reason, I like it being on there, because I don't even want them cutting onto the back roads. It's just more wear and tear, even though they're gonna be 30, 40,000 pounds. There's no need to take shortcuts. If they're commercial trucks and they're delivering to a point in our county, go for it. There's no restriction on you. But if you're coming from Scriven, don't jump off of 21 and come down McCall Road. It's not quick to put more traffic on that road. We'd rather still 21 or Augusta or 19 or that's my thought.
Yeah, I understand that.
What happens if, say, DOT is on one of our county roads, DOT officer, he gives one of our local guys a ticket, but under this ordinance here, I mean, they're okay, but the DOT guy says otherwise. Does our ordinance trump the DOT, or?
Well, we'd only be giving tickets on county roads, because you can only be in violation of this if you're driving a class 6 or above on a county road. DOT,
Shouldn't be concerned.
I don't think they'd be concerned. Now, what they could give is a weight ticket, let's say, on a state road, which we can't prevent them from doing. If I have that correct. Does that sound about right?
But they can give you a ticket on a county road if they stop it. I can bring you one if you want me to.
The ticket was at what? What was the ticket issued for?
For being on a road that was only authorized for 20,000 pounds, Blue Jay.
I would think with this though, you can prove that you do have permission to do that.
Yeah, I would think you make.
If it's written correctly, you could, yeah.
It's an interesting point.
I think you make the ordinance,
I understand, but that ain't the only one we ever got.
make the ordinance available to DOT, and I would think he's looking at our signage as well. If our signs say 56,000 pounds, that may be lines pulled over. If we get those signs, they're gone, we give DOT our description of a class 6 and above, okay? And those signs are gone, you have no reason to pull them over.
And I think one of the points that we would want to do is, on this as well, would be repeal existing ordinances that are based on the restriction on weight. So there'd be no ordinance for that officer to ticket on anymore if he was trying to enforce a county ordinance. It would be repealed.
Now, one second, the way that's done, Lee, help me with this. Should this ordinance say that this repeals all over the ordinances related, or does it say that? I don't remember. Is that the way you repeal all the other ordinances that this replaces, and you modify the ordinance that replaces, or what?
Well, you usually have that catch-all. It's best if you can specifically cite which ordinances are being repealed, but more times than not, you're going to have the standard repeal any ordinance in conflict herewith.
You come with, and more particularly 36 dash whatever, we get plenty of feedback. I'm making note of that too, so that when it does come for approval, we have a repeal of the previous ordinances and anyone in conflict with this ordinance. Yes, sir?
If a public service vehicle pulls you over, they have a computer in their car that they're looking at. It tells you, just like if you got a GPS on your car, when the speed limit changes from 45, immediately when you hit that sign that shows on your GPS, it's got every weight limit, everywhere he's authorized to go, and every speed limit. And all he's got to do is look at that computer. And it don't matter what you got on your sign, and he will give you the picture. So we have to work something out
Yeah, we gotta communicate with
not to harass trucks. I'm not sure how you do that, but I know that we've had enough tickets over the years that he's looking at that computer, you can't argue with him, it's right there on the computer.
But Alan, he can only write state law, he can't write county ordinances, so this wouldn't affect MCCD at all.
Yeah.
They can't write a citation on this period. So it would only come under the state regulations. I'm double checking with the cabinet, that's what he told me a while back. So this is they can't even touch this.
So there may be a learning curve, a communication curve, of putting this in place. Hopefully, after this is done over a couple months of signage, communicating with DOT, putting it on the GPS, whatever you have to do, you have to go to the streets and roads, I don't know. We'll follow through with all that and make sure it has as few hitches as possible. There's probably going to be one or two in the next couple of months once it's. I had another question on how do we protect, this is just a real simple one, under D4, where it says vehicles defined as a commercial vehicle class 6013 in the section, going to and from a driver's residence. Don't we have an ordinance that protects where you can't go into a development with a semi truck and park it on the road, or at the residence? Do you have something else that protects our community from that? Because most of these folks should have a place to park their truck. If they're on their own truck, they should have a place to park their truck that's on Highway 21 truck route.
And I got some on my side of the county that they got several acres and they drive it.
Well, that would protect, I'm talking about the community.
Yeah, they can't park on the road, they have to park it on their
I mean,
property.
they have to have a certain amount of property to do that.
I don't know if it's a certain amount, but
If you got a place.
That would be a neighborhood, ordinance, you know, not ordinance.
they show every time.
They would try to protect the neighborhood.
A subdivision with half acre lot, you wouldn't have a place to park it for a big truck. First of
They
all,
do it, I think I've seen them do it, and I just wondered, I mean, I don't think this, didn't change his ordinance tonight, but that concerns me that the driver's residence, that might be another, something we look at related to, like you said, you got 3 or 4 acres in the country, you got a parking truck in that, come on, I'm gonna park that. But Jimmy's out there, there's a neighborhood, and they've got half-acre plots, he's got a semi-truck on this side, the semi-truck is parked on this side, it's going on our residential streets every day.
If it's empty though, if it's just a tractor without a load,
I don't know, I'm just asking, it just sounds like a big, but this is referring to the axles and the load. Right now, like your question, we cover under 6, it's an empty truck. And if it's,
they're going home, it covers it no matter what.
if they go to their house.
I just don't know, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. I just didn't know if you wanted them going into subdivisions like Lost Plantation or Staffordshire. Or
That's like Phil said that, I think that's more of an HOA type thing, as long as they're not parking on our right of way.
Okay.
But you know where it all comes back to, a neighborhood like Westwood Heights, it has no ordinance. It seems like we're always trying to do something, but
But people
probably
say
they don't want to do it because they don't have more.
I guess you're right, if it's under, if it's not
got
used
it.
anymore, we know it's not managing our road, because it's under the way. We're doing our access, and the sheriff can enforce it.
So if he's going home, it's just restricted.
But it doesn't, I'd say.
Maybe take it for the load home.
That's
You could ride in here. You could bobtail home, and then the guy has to pay for it, what you guys are talking about, but there's a place right on Goshen, that a guy parks in the trailer trailers, you know, on the left-hand side of it, you turn right on Goshen on 21. There's a place on the left-hand side, he parks, dump trailers. 3 or 4 trucks.
That's his residence. 3 or 4 trucks are not going home.
He's operating out of his house, basically.
That's what we're calling. Yeah, he's got some. But he's got a red paper, he's got a 10-foot man. So he goes down there.
But the guy's got really just trying to find something else.
he got big room there.
Yeah, probably.
This one is not addressing the business, it's just addressing.
This goal here is to keep them cut through.
Like you said, it's going to be arbitrary, maybe we start with this. We tweak it every time.
That's a good point, we're gonna hear from Western Heights.
Well,
We're gonna hear everything.
yeah, that's what I kept, I said, then we change this ordinance, but I'd like to know we got something done in the planning board to protect community.
But in actually, this is what is allowed, the movie, they would go back and do.
What's allowed now, we're trying to restrict it.
Well, no, they've got weight limits in the roads right now, they've put on the list, they have a long list of the sheriff. Over the years, they've been adding ordinances. Well, this is gonna trump all that, and allow them to go home.
Okay.
Maybe think about that.
All right, I would just suggest you take care of that and see what we look at, see somebody can maybe do for that's all us to protect, because they're not, I just caught my attention. I picture the shit sitting out in the road, driveway,
Yeah,
they
there's
are.
times that happens, seen one today. Right, place
About to us, what you're saying, I think we'll just kind of address that.
But, yeah, you know, situations like that, we would be able to, or an HOA, instead of us, also.
Right now, we have to.
But they already know you can't block the road, or that you gotta block the road, subdivision. One part on this road, one part on this side, you won't be able to go through that. They know they can't block the road. They should.
That's how we do with some of the over the road hauling trucks. Like on Old Augusta Road, they just pull over on 21 and Georgia Pacific and sit. So they're just, I mean, it could be a safety issue, right?
Same issue, yeah.
Same thing, just a bigger, different.
Use it. Unfortunately, that's the mentality.
Or someone that's just, if you're driving, picked up whatever, and they're driving, they gotta wait.
But you got a new thing, the DOT allows you to personal conveyance. So if you're a truck driver and you're out of hours and you need to get to safe haven, you got the personal conveyance to travel 70 miles and you put safe haven, you don't have to park there. That's just something they like to do. There are electronic parking devices, there are ways around that. You don't have to park in the right of ways or get stuck without hours. You can get a personal conveyance. And if you're close enough home, you can go home. If not, you're supposed to go to the closest or nearest safe haven, which may be a truck stop or rest area in the last truck.
Very good. All right, it's 4:30, we're going to have time to talk about the others. Any further questions, or we give this ordinance to put it on there?
I got 4 or 5 things I want to ask you about. You might have been covering them, but I couldn't hear you, so I want to make sure they get on the record. I'm Alan Zipper, 1616 Blue Jay Road, Rankin, Georgia. Number one, on most of the trucks that we send out, they build in a new neighborhood or subdivision or strip mall, they don't have an address. They got a project name, okay? And so we go to the project name on a certain street. There is no address for them to go on. So we need to make provisions in here that if you got a delivery ticket in your truck, or a letter or something saying where you're going, that won't be a problem for us. But an address, they usually don't have one until later on in the
Well, the
project.
project would be the same thing as the address. I mean, you have, I think it would.
Yeah, but it says address. So you need to correct it where it covers all that stuff.
Okay.
Because I've been in here a long time, and there's that one guy out there that reads between the lines, and that's the guy that pulls my guy over.
A project
We have
or
to argue with
address.
it.
Address or project.
That's right.
Address or destination.
Yeah.
If it can be called.
So that would cover it
He's
all.
right, we do a lot of job site stuff ourselves, there will be an address nearby, but not the actual address you do, it doesn't exist.
So is the site under construction?
It could be, I'll just put destination where you cover
Well,
everything.
I'm asking if it's a site under construction, because if it's under construction, it has a building permit, and an address has to be assigned at the
True.
building permit.
Well,
So
It could be.
yeah,
taken
they not always
to a-
building permits on.
Like Jasper.
That's what I'm
You know,
asking.
Jasper
Is it
Village
site
would
work
be a
or
good
is it?
example.
But you
That's-
could,
Jasper Village, you know, it's a project name, it may not be an outlaw address.
you could be taking construction materials to a laydown yard.
I think it's a good comment. We don't run out of time.
Okay.
We can beat that language up.
The next issue is the state law says you can go down a county maintained road to the nearest state route. Okay, so here's a, for instance, you come out of Hodgeville Road, you get on Blue Jay, you're going to Vidalia. You get to Highway 17, you got to turn right at the roundabout, and you got to go down to 119, and you got to follow 119 around, or either follow 119 to 67 and get on the interstate to go to Vidalia, rather than cutting through Blue Jay, Sand Hill, get on Highway 80 to 280, which is the nearest in the direction that you're going.
And
And
you stay
so
on 17 highway. You stay on 17 highway.
you can, but you can run 20 miles out of your way.
Well, we talked about that last time, so we did the backtrack. 'cause
Yeah,
we should be able to backtrack.
In the direction, and I think we changed the wording so it states that you have to be going in the it's the closest route in the direction of your destination, so it doesn't, so to exclude situations where you have to backtrack.
But playing devil's advocate, if you're the law guy, the nearest route, state route in the direction I'm going is Highway 17. That's the nearest one. Now, it puts me way out of the way, but that's the nearest route in the direction I'm traveling.
He's taking you out of direction at that point.
It takes you out of the direction at that point, but it is the nearest state route in the direction I'm traveling.
Well, it wouldn't be in the direction you're driving, if you're trying to get to Montpelier. You're driving that route. In fact, I brought up that same instance as if you're coming out of Hodgeville and your nearest point is Highway 30. You don't want to go to Highway 30 if you're going to Vidalia or anything else, or if you're going to North Lincoln County, you want to be able to go up into the J instead of coming all the way to the nearest. So it does, that directional thing does cover you to be able to see a hell of a lot of railroad miles just to go.
Because you get Elizabeth, you go up to 17, then you get on San Diego, on that road, in a big truck, stay on 17, that does not add more than a couple miles, going down to 17, and picking up 8, and going back to the right.
Yeah, it does. You need to ride it.
I've ridden it, I'll read it, maybe 3 or 4 of those, but the cost of repairing these roads, Alan, is what we're trying to prevent until we get all these roads redone, until we have more truck routes. So,
And I understand what you're saying, but there's one guy that was sitting here when I come before this board to build my plant. Because I wanted to build in Effingham, but I knew I was going to be on a county maintained road just like all the whole industrial research forest is on, okay? And they approved it, and I was never going to have no problems. Well, he's the only guy left, and now I got a problem, okay? So now what I want is something in writing covering me, because I got a $15 million investment. Now you saying you just ride 4 or 5 miles out the way. Well, suppose, you know how much cost that is every time you ride 4 or 5 miles out the road, 8 or 10 times a day, 300 times a year, or whatever it is. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that we don't have. We have to compete for all the jobs we got. And I just want some coverage. I made a huge investment in this county, a huge investment.
Okay.
On somebody's word, and I didn't get a copy of a letter, and that's my ignorance. But I want a copy of this one, what's said here tonight.
All right, let's say, because we got some business we got to cover. I hear you.
Okay, well, I got a couple more things.
Maybe we need to look
As
at-
we go,
Hang on a
okay?
second. Hang on a second. Maybe, Kim, one thing. Maybe we could consider some language like for local businesses, being able to find that. That's different.
You know, I mean, if we,
Deliver.
you know, it may be enough to say, I mean, the shortest distance in the direction of, I mean, because that's what you're talking about.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm good with that if you add that in.
Okay.
And this would still eliminate the through traffic just coming through here.
I understand.
And that would get rid of the through traffic, but it wouldn't affect you.
I understand.
Okay.
All right, the other thing now, when these truck drivers are going, they all,
Hold on a second. We could do something for local businesses that would state that we did not take them out of route more than 3 miles or something like that. That way, or something, that way you know you won't have out of route miles. Like if you take this route, like he's talking about, you say 5 miles, then you're allowed to do that and save that 5 miles for local businesses.
Right.
And I'm okay with local business taking the shortest route. I think we could do the language that way, so that it's the people coming in making deliveries, it's taking these shortcuts with 120,000 pound trucks. But our businesses, we want to protect, so that if he takes the shortest route, or any business within the country, if we approve the business and we approve the location, we also allow them the shortest route. That's what you're saying.
And that would eliminate, and that would,
So let's consider that language.
Sure, you put miles
on any lease truck that
yeah. well,
I don't need mileage.
So let's look at the language for the local businesses to take the shortest route.
No through traffic coming.
Yeah, no through traffic.
That'll eliminate that.
Yep.
Because he's not through traffic.
No, businesses coming out of other counties and states coming through here, you go to the closest truck.
Okay.
We've got a lot to do.
You can build one more?
We've got a little time. We got one more.
I got 2 more quick things.
Quick.
One, a driver going to his residence loaded. Okay, let's just say I got 2 drivers, sometime 3 that goes to Guyton. They come off Blue Jay, get on Midland, get on 17. You know, are they gonna have to go up to that roundabout? Because look, you can't take a 48-foot trailer and a tractor and make a right turn at that roundabout without running into
You
ditch.
go to the residence.
Yeah, you can go to your residence.
Okay.
It's exempt.
And the other thing, other concern is we trying to build a Effingham Parkway, which is primarily a truck route. Where are we gonna dump it? We're gonna dump it on a 56,000-pound road. Okay, that's what we're fixing to do. And every truck that comes out of Savannah on that road is gonna be,
Actually, we're working to change that. We're hoping to have the improvements we need all the way to 119. That will be another truck road, route road. So we're looking at improvements on the car road that will bring it. So that's one thing you are working on.
If we don't, we'll redo.
We've got to, what, I think it's supposed to be built by 2020, 2021. Hopefully, early in 2022, it'll be built and we'll have this other improvements done.
And to your point, temporarily, unfortunately, while we, you know, it's certainly one of the projects we're looking for at T-Splost is where it dumps out on the call. I mean, it's the shortest route from where, in the direction that you're going would still be McCall, even though the road itself, 221, even though the road itself is not
Yeah.
but most of them
or we
coming
can
out.
designate it a truck, because we're gonna have to amend this ordinance to add Effingham Parkway to it. Which is not included here, because it doesn't exist yet. So, you know, you can either say where Effingham Parkway ends, you know, the shortest route to 21 will be McCall, and then we'll be working on fixing that.
Yes.
So that McCall can handle the weight.
We need to get the next workshop on. That's probably 2.5 to 3 years out.
Yeah.
We'll have that fixed when we either permission to be on McCall Road, or we got 2 or 3 years to fix that. Let's get these other things you mentioned. Correct. Okay?
Okay. And also, I'd like to get a transcript of this meeting. That was a mistake I made 12 years ago, or else I wouldn't be up here talking tonight.
Not a problem. Thank you. All right. We need to go to the building that we're looking to purchase, the bank for the Homestead Complex. I know you have an appraisal in. Where you want to start? You want to start with the appraisal? Or where do you want to do that?
I mean, I think we can talk, would it be best to talk about that, because that has to do with acquisition of property, executive session. But just going, I wanted to go over to some of the floor plans, so the commission can basically have a better idea of effectively what the intended use is for the facility. And so what I'll start off is if you look at from 21, you have the bank building and the office building, and they're both connected via a breezeway. Looking at what I'll call the office building, this is the downstairs floor plan. And the downstairs floor plan, effectively, you've got, this is the breezeway right here, for folks. This is the breezeway right here connecting the bank. It goes right into here. You have a large open space right here. And then offices around the perimeter. This is a large conference room, which essentially can replace our kind of our multi-purpose room where we have large meetings right there. Can easily fit that table in there, with about 16 to 18, 20 seats around the table. And then you have a small kitchen right here, storage facility. You've got an elevator right here, which I'll show you on the unfinished second floor. Even though the floor is not finished above this, the elevator, for whatever reason they installed after construction, and it's ready to use. Restroom facilities here, and a large fireproof file storage building off facility right here. The thought is, and we can go over kind of different different potential uses on this, is that since this is a large open room right now with very little changes, you have 2 posts right here. This could replace this room that we're in right now, and it would fit slightly less than 100 seats with the dais up on this wall right here. With staff as well up there, and then all the seats would essentially go to here with your doorway entries here and here, and then there would be a hallway basically shielding off these office buildings right here. Since it's already open space, we're really not talking a lot of construction in order to make that happen. Obviously, the dais construction is the largest of it on this floor. The trick is with this building, and this is one of the things that we've got to decide, is where the entrance is going to be. This is the side entrance going towards the, on the side that goes towards the building, I'm trying to remember the name of that store. Since the bank is on this side, this is the side of the building. It's got kind of an entrance right there. We would probably have to reconfigure something in this room right here so that we can create kind of a small entranceway here with a remotely controlled lock door here. And then, possibly a window right here and an office right here as kind of a reception area. But the benefit here is you're really not talking about a tremendous amount of work that you actually have to do to get this floor itself into workable use for the county. The next I'm going to do is the second floor of where the actual bank is. And sorry about that. This again is finished space. It works fairly well for what the county's potential use for it would be. There is one trick to this, which I'll get into in a minute. But the entranceway to the second floor, there's either stairs that comes from right off of that breezeway, or there's an elevator. It goes right into a lobby area. The thought is that this could be the administrative offices for the clerk, myself, our administrator, and the Board of Commissioners. It would essentially have 2 offices right here. We could either set one of these offices up, similar to how your office is set up in this building, and temporarily, you could potentially set this up as a small conference room, but as the county expands, you put extra conference rooms in there that essentially can be converted into offices. But the space works very well without much changes at all. There might be a need, since this bathroom is extremely small, whether it's adequate, we have to find out for an additional bathroom right here. But that would really be the extent of the changes of this floor. The trick is this elevator goes into the lobby of the bank itself. Most folks who are accessing this office suite are probably going to be using the stairs. We can set up in the lease back arrangement with the bank that at 4 o'clock every day, they can come upstairs to find out that if there's anybody up here who needs the elevator assistance to get down, to let us know that they'll be locking it up, and then they can lock out the elevator, and then exit would be through the stairs only at that point. But again, you have a floor that really doesn't require that much additional retrofit to fit the county's needs. Next up is just to see what the bank lobby area is. Let's see, I just missed that. All right.
Can you just click on that picture?
Yeah, I'll zoom in on it. So this is what the space the bank, this is the space that the bank will be using. And the agreement itself will have a leaseback agreement in it for a period no less than 2 years. Their goal is to find a suitable location in the Springfield area to build a new branch.
No less than or more than 2 years?
What's that?
No less than or more than 2 years?
No less than 2 years, so minimum 2 years for them, and then they'll have an option, I think, we'll have an annual option after that, but they need a guarantee of 2 years.
I'm good with that, just didn't want to go beyond 2 years if we need it.
Right. But again, it's a good use of space. You've got offices all around. This possibly, for some of our more customer service oriented type departments could use this. But one of the areas that you don't see here, we're not going to need 5 bays for drive-through traffic. And that could be easily converted into office space as well. So that could add additional square footage. This right here is the stairs that go up to that second floor administrative suite that I was just on, and that's the elevator right there. This is the vault. Unfortunately, it comes with the bank. They're not taking it with them, so that's a somewhat limited use room right there, but we can figure that out. But again, we don't really have to worry about this for a 2-year period of time. The one room area that would have to be looked into and get plans on is the second floor of the office building. And that is just simply rough space right now.
Do you have an idea of which departments you would move together yet, or is that still?
It depended on what we can fit. We would really, if the meeting room were to relocate at that facility, we'd really have to look at updating the second floor immediately, but we'd be talking about administrative functions, the administrator's office, the clerk's office, human resources, finance, procurement, planning and zoning, or developmental services, all of them. The idea being that you can set this office up as a one-stop. Anything, with the exception of the tax commissioner and the tax assessor who were set up in the old courthouse, that folks would have to come in, they'll know that this is the building they need to go to.
Well, me personally, that's kind of what I was hoping we'd be able to achieve through this is, as far as permitting goes, housing, things like that, we can kind of be a one-stop shop, because that's one thing I get as a commissioner, I don't know if we all do, but
Set of health
sometimes,
department.
yeah, folks have to go to different areas.
And this second floor, really, and we could look at those other, and it really is determination of sitting down, talking to the departments themselves to figure out, what space works best for them. But, this entire second floor here is pretty much all open space.
And with the health department, I mean, I guess Daryl's side.
Environmental, I don't know.
We'd have to look at space. If one thing is to determine, if IT moves into this space as well. That's a big move because that involves all the servers as well. And preferably they'd like to be in the same building as them. But, it's one of those, we've got the space with this. It's just a matter of figuring out what our best configuration of needs. And clearly we have the needs. It would free up this building, but even freeing up this building, we've got some ideas of how it can be repurposed. We just need, we're renting space right now in some cases, and some departments are effectively homeless. So we'll find use for any space we free up by using this building.
I would like to develop this even, throw it out there, tax commissioner, tax assessor, so everyone's stop shop. I did mention to Tim about what the possibilities are, but said you could make office space behind those televisions. To me, if you closed in, like Ray said, that's a good usable roof area. You had that as a tax office. They do have a lot of cash, during tax season. Got a walk right there. You got tellers. So it's a good opportunity to make the whole county come under there. And then we may have to expand it. We have more land, so we may have to add some offices, but it would be nice. For the next 2 to 3 years, everything is centrally located. It also means we can let go of some properties that some commercial businesses might like to have, which puts it back in the tax roll, and we get all of the Effingham family in one location, except for obviously sheriff and EMS and those folks that need more space. But where people are dealing with the business of the county, taxes, permits, water and sewer, development, all, that's why I like to see.
And so this has elevator access, it's got finished stairs. Like I mentioned, it's a large open space. The potential is what you make it on this building, but I would certainly price out finishing it, as if the commission chooses to move forward with the building, because we're going to need this space, close to immediately.
So if it pans out and we can move forward this meeting, building, I would like to suggest that let the board be thinking about this when we talk about it again next meeting. Short range, as much consolidation as we can get, obviously, because we're limited on the downstairs. But I would like, if you move for the building, get the architect to go in and do a master plan of what you can close and where you can add on, where it's more feasible, so that we have complete consolidation over the next 4 or 5 years. Don't be short-sighted and just do what we can, or what you have to build, replace, or do. Whatever that means, I don't know, but I know there's a master plan come out on it, we can do that.
And of course, your immediate 2-year expansion is is taking over the bank space, but there's also a vacant lot on the building supply side of this lot as well, that could be expanded, that could be used for expansion as well, and it comes with the price as part of the purchase of the bank.
Any questions, discussions? Okay.
We're going to go into a timeline on when we would like to see that, or did you say that? I mean, we won't have the next meeting or
Well, I
2
think
meetings or
we're going to have an executive session, right? And we're looking, we're going to be moving forward the building on that decision we made tonight or the next meeting. I would say we do that, and then give directives of what we want from the drawings and timelines, okay? Okay. So let's turn to the building.
just we're in that second 90-day
Yeah. I think we have the information we can look at tonight, maybe by the next meeting, we can make a determination. Okay? We're gonna have, in a minute, a executive session, so I'm gonna ask if we can go into the meeting, because there will be a chance to break between the executive session in about 15 minutes or so. Okay, so let's just go, if it's okay, we're gonna go into our meeting. We don't need an official close of the, we do, a motion to adjourn the workshop.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the workshop.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Kiefer to adjourn the workshop. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. It carries. And so I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Effingham County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's November 5th, 2019, at 5 o'clock p.m. And if you all allow some indication, and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance and flag. Gracious Father, we are so thankful for this opportunity tonight to come and discuss the important businesses of this county. We're thankful for the opportunity to serve our constituents. And pray you give us wisdom to listen and to hear and discernment as we make decisions that will impact our community. We pray that it will be good for our citizens, but also glorifying to you. So guide us tonight in all the business that we do. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have an agenda before you. There are some removals and amendments to the tabling of some items. If you'll follow with me, they'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustments that I'm about to read, and then we'll see the additions. We need to remove item number 1 in the old business. That's the one adjustments. We will be tabling item number 12 on the new business. Item number 14 on the new business. And item number 17 on the new business. Ms. Sticky, did I miss any?
You didn't miss any, but number 17 is removed. It's not tabled.
Number 17 is removed.
Yes.
Removed. Okay, so I need a motion to accept the agenda as presented with removal of item 1, tabling of item old business, tabling item 12 and 14 of new business, and removing item 17 of new business. Make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the said changes.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lowe, second Mr. Loker, to approve the agenda with said changes. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And we have our agenda. First item on the agenda then is consideration to approve the October 15, 2019 regular commission meeting minutes and the October 24, 2019 special call meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or adjustments to the minutes? Do you have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve both sets of minutes as presented.
Motion by Mr. Lowe, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. And welcome our public tonight. Good to see a good crowd here tonight. Ask you to keep your comments, if you could, to the agenda items only, keep them 2 or 3 minutes, and that will allow everyone who would like to speak to an agenda item to be able to do so. Of course, the documents are found in our clerk's office and on our website, and I hope you've had a chance to review those and are prepared to participate at the appropriate time. We're going to do the consent agenda, and I'll come back to the appearance unless they're here. We'll see what that's at that point. We have 3 items on our consent agenda. One is consideration to approve to accept a grant award from ACCG Employee Salary Grant Program. Item 2, consideration to approve to accept a grant award from Georgia Governor's Office of Highway Safety, GOHS, for the Sheriff's Office. The 2 items that have a motion to approve is the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Deloach to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. I want to see if Mr. Jack Wilford is here for his 5:15.
I am.
Is it okay, move forward with that then?
I'm sorry.
Okay, move forward with that?
Yes.
Ms. Will? Ms. Will, could you come on up?
How's everybody tonight?
Very good, thank you.
First of all, thank you all for being here. I'm going to try to make that 2 or 3 minutes. That's a tall order. I'm kind of long-winded. But first of all, thank you, Councilman Deloach, for allowing me to come here and to see you guys tonight. Thank you all for having me. So the order I wanted to bring tonight was we just bought 32 acres out in Pinor, across from Pinor Handy House, 1745 Highway 21. It's on the way out, you know, where the El Cheapo is. It's on, that big piece of land. So I contacted Councilman Deloach about trying to get the word out about what I want to do on that property. And what God's given us is an after-school program for disadvantaged youth. I know they exist already in the county as far as the YMCA and such, but there's a lot of kids that can't afford that. So with a little bit of background, if I can have your time for just a minute, I just want to tell you who I am. I'm a husband to a beautiful wife, a father to 4 great kids. I'm a resident of Effingham County my entire life.
They're all smiling back there.
I have a lot to smile about. I don't know about them. I'm a pastor of a small church, Ignite Kingdom Lifestyle, just getting rooted here in the county. And this is our slogan: Effingham, you are us. We are you, and you are us. So we just look to really make an impact for the kingdom of God in this county, in this region. And I'm a business owner, so if y'all need anybody to wire that stuff that y'all had up there earlier. So just a little bit of my background, and again, I'll try to make this quick. So I was a very lost youth. Growing up here in the county, I was fatherless. My father died when I was 3 months old. Very lost, very angry. Very left behind. Went through a lot of deaths as a small young man, and grew up very, very angry. I remember playing ball. I played ball with Jamie, and I would see the dads out with the kids on the field, and honestly, it would upset me, you know. So I went down a real bad road real early. Locked up for the first time when I was 13 years old. Sent off, you know, did the whole boot camp thing. Came back, and never once did anybody, a pastor, anyone knock on my door and tell me that God still had a plan for my life, that the redemptive blood of who Jesus Christ is was enough, that he could still love me through all that stuff. So my heart beats for that. That's who I want to be. That's who I want to give a place for in this county. So we're breaking ground over there. We're just getting our building drawn up and all that good stuff. I brought prints, but I'll send them to you and let you guys share them amongst yourself. But we just believe that we're in a pivotal time right here, in not only our county, but our state and in our nation. And we have a lot of kids right now that are being left behind, that are looked over. And you know, it's real blatant. I could go into a million different, but I'm not going to go there. But that's who we're called to. So we want to give something. Of course, it'll house our church also. But we want to open 5 days a week for the kids. We want to give a place, and we're not trying to do really young. We want to do 14 to 18 years old, and to be able to teach values of who Christ calls them, and reinstill kingdom value in them. Help them to see themselves how God sees them through the blood, of course, of Jesus Christ. And begin to teach them life skills. There's so many things that we take for granted, especially as you know, a business owner. My son will never have to worry about how to tie a tie. He's got dad to ask. But growing up, I didn't have that. There's a million different small aspects of life that kids don't get to learn. If both parents are not in the house. And we have a lot of kids right here in this county that are being raised by grandparents. and they're not getting that. So I want to get with businessmen around our county, and I have been. I've been trying to make those connections of getting men to come in and speak. This is what we look for on an interview. This is how you dress. This is different just facets of life that a lot of us sometimes will take for granted. But there's a lot of kids out there. There's a huge need. So that's what we want to be. And I just want to be to somebody who I needed as a child. And Christ found me when I was 22 years old. Didn't go through a 12-step program. I went through a one-step program. His name's Jesus. And never looked back. And that's our calling. That's what we want to do. That's what I want that land to represent. We have some phases of what we want that land to do. Phase 2, we'll go into building some sports things that kids can come and lift weights and play sports and have some fields out there for them. And it's 32 acres. We got a lot to play with. And then eventually even grow into a park for them to come and just to be able to pitch in and do the things. And then even a trampoline park at the end of it, where kids and youth, not that Jack's trying to grow his church out of this, not at all. I want to be able to give youth groups from around the county access, free access to come and be with their kids, so they have things right here in this county to do. And to be frank, man, when I was growing up here, there wasn't much for the youth to do in this county. There's no bowling alleys, no movie theaters, so we got in trouble. Way too much, and I know the sheriff sitting beside me said, way too much than needed. But that's still a fact here in this county. There's not a lot for the kids, a 17, 18-year-old kid to do in our county. So we want to give that. We want to grow into that, and it's going to be a growing sequence, but that's really our vision for that land. And I'm so happy to be able to come here and share that with you guys tonight. And so just my reason being here, right, is resources, is being able to make connections in professional life. I know how valuable that is, and to get you guys experience some of the things that I'm talking about. There's retired teachers. There's that we want to work with. We want to be able to allow teachers to come in who still have a heartbeat for the kids, and to be able to come in and help them with homework and projects and things like that right after school. Because again, I went home to an empty house. My mom worked till 7 o'clock at night, and the streets called loud. And that's still a thing right now. All around us, we have kids that go home to empty homes, and they're going out and getting in trouble right after school. So we want to give them a place to come and they can work on their homework and raise their grades and just teach them who they are. I look to gain some experience, some people's experience in this room. I want to know if there's any grants for anything like what we're trying to put together. I just don't know. I can Google it, but the almighty Google. But to know if there's anything in the county or the state that I can apply for and go that route. If anybody's ever started a ministry, you don't do it to get rich. So of course we're going to need. There's money that's needed. And to just get the word out, what better place right here to just get the word out of what we're trying to do, and most of all, just unite our community behind it, and change, even if it's one kid that we can keep from turning 18 and going into the county jail, even if it's one kid that we can save off of drug addiction or alcoholism, which raises another one, that's my tug, that's my heartbeat. And we just really want to make a difference. And if it's not too much, the Lord kind of just showed me a vision of Effingham County, Effingham. We got some great people. We have great churches. We have great individuals in this county. To be known as Effingham, and the phenomenal work that Sheriff has done up to now of getting that stuff going has been, like I said, it's just phenomenal. He's made a huge impact in this county. But the Lord showed me the cesspool of drugs and alcohol and these 20-something, 30-year-old somethings that are just in this lifestyle. And it's just this nasty rampant. And these huge streams of youth that's feeding this pool. And it's just, kids are going downstream. And for one, I think kids are tired of hearing that they're just going down. you know, and we need to build them up, and we need to teach them who they are. But God told me to stop the stream first and turn around and work on the pool. So that's what I'm wanting to do. That is the meaning behind the 32 acres that we own, that the church owns. So I thank you all for your time again. God bless you. Love the prayer. This is the first one I've been to the city council meeting. So thank y'all for praying. Thank y'all for being godly leaders, and thank you for your time.
Jay, before you go, thank you for being here tonight.
Yes, sir.
They had a little message one time on just in Proverbs, that just man does what is right, and leaves a legacy. That's a paraphrase.
Amen.
There are men who are just men, and there's just men. Some of you are a just man. It's good to see that
Thank
you want to get back to the community after what all the Lord has done for you and the opportunity. So that's exciting. I'm going to open the door to myself. If you want to give me an email and call me, I'd love to do
Absolutely.
it.
Okay.
And hear more about the structure, organization, and see how I
Yes,
can
sir.
participate in that.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
you made at least one connection, and probably some more up here tonight.
Awesome.
And so look forward to hearing more of your testimony, which is very exciting. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. God bless.
Thank you so much. You have a need for an executive session early tonight. If you're here for business, it should not be that long, so if you just hang in there, we'll be back in just a minute. But we need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel, pending litigation, and property.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Logan, second by Mr. Deloach, for executive session. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. It carries. And we will be back in just a little bit, so take a break, use the restroom.
I'll call you.
They're meeting, I'm waiting for it.
Guy wrote it down, it's, for a guy who I admire people. You know, a guy like that, you can use your hands to solve things
Yeah, we
they want to discuss. My guess is, by the way, they're probably going to give me I bet you that's what they'll That's what I mean. So, I don't see one for now. There were a couple of boxes. I'm just going to go through it.
We'll take a look at it if need.
I got it. You might know the order for 3 hours.
Yeah, wouldn't
Made that place look a little bit. And you still didn't like it. Because they had already made it. As long as it goes. I'm not. Yeah, I got it. The management team got it. the 6th. All right? Because that thing, they didn't move it back. It's either. Here's the time. Didn't take that much. Have a good evening. I'll just hang out. I'll get inside the room. We have the meetings where we used to have. At Kessler Hall. Keeper Hall. Yeah, they moved us out. But as it turns out, most of the time that building is. To be honest with you, I like ours better now. I like where we have it better now. How you doing? Good, thank you. How you doing?
Find out what you can get down. Thank you.
did, he got all that easy. So I guess, yeah, they knew he was trapping and trying something. He wanted to do that. He would make a way. He got away from it. And never been. That was a good way. That was a good year.
Just go get it. Just go get started.
Bills. road and stuff like that. I was hoping it was 55 plus, but at least on the last picture. I had her originally 65.
Where the money went to, I had to ask, but it's on
That'd be good. 55 plus, let's get her one more new.
French fries? Yes.
Jenny said they passed it out zoning. It was supposed to be. My friend came that's our vacation money, that's what
You can ask about 10 minutes.
How are you? I'm good. You?
Oh, yeah, we see a lot of trees out on there. We get everybody. People walk the street, people with a pair of yeah, that's what we're gonna put them city in. Sometimes it's entertaining, sometimes it's boring. Hit and miss. She was so much she had to I'll be good, but I'm going to
Yes. I heard about it, but I just heard about it. I didn't taste it. I heard about it. He was bragging about that. We were sitting there eating and I got home. And usually when you eat, you're not hungry. We were eating and he started calling out, single more than and he just kept on talking about it. He did say he had to move down there. I like all the balloons big on the straight. I like eating, but I like you didn't put mayonnaise. That's good. There we go. Don't mess up a good thing. He didn't find leftovers. He brags on you a lot, but he can brag on heavy on your last.
Then I walked by next back, and I was for myself. Man, it's taking on for us, that's one of the leave up to go. Our preacher. He made it sound from that man. I love Mexico.
And he made you look over it. I don't know how you said eat it. I hate eating french fries and dipping in that stuff. Mayonnaise. He's sitting there. Chicken fried, then what peanuts packed? Yeah, canned peanuts,
Okay, I like peanut.
they do, right? I've been eating a lot of chicken breast, but cut back on the calories again. You need that real chicken, you need a lot of that. We go about it. I've been eating it. It's like, everyone gets on a great bag, like, man, I'm gonna love this big bag. And it tastes like, I mean, it don't taste frozen at all. This like says a big bag. Oh, yeah. I was like, he's dressed up as a dog and
Said
said Tom, is that because they won't let us in the state? Because we want just text it out, you know, it's just strange. So to keep it in the city, they're working hard in the city. They take high. Because the guy was, his name Smith outside of jail. And I think of me, if I had to do this, I would do a drug deal.
So they just sit in the truck and they don't have anything to do?
They go back to the station.
They're always supposed to be off because when we
That ain't 10 hours a day, 10, 12 hours a day, they're out. No Griffin Wakefield was there.
We found it this month.
So guys got a bill to do, they're not using the fire station now, y'all can use it. They're supposed to be giving us a day to use it. To do that, they would have to put the bags on. And the only thing in there is the same time bags. But it's a deal. There's still a lot of people that you see here in school. That's fire.
back into regular session.
Make a motion to go back to regular session.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Worker, to go back into regular session. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. It carries. I apologize for the longevity of that executive session. There was more information than I realized that we could look at. But I know I'm getting antsy, so we'll get right to the business. We have item number 2, because number 1 was removed from the agenda. And the old business consideration to approve a maintenance agreement with Motorola Solutions for the radio systems and 911 console.
Chris Reed, IT Director. Effingham County Emergency Services radios operate on the Seagarden Radio Network along with several other coastal counties. Effingham County's portion of this radio network underwent a major upgrade to digital equipment and brought the county's South Tower online a few years back. Up till now, the county's portion of the system, which includes 3 tower sites and the 911 radio dispatch consoles, have been covered under warranty. This is the first year that we've needed to renew our maintenance agreement since prior to the upgrade. The current warranty maintenance agreement discontinued on July 31st. We're currently under a grace period. Communications equipment is vulnerable to a number of force majeure events that could cripple the infrastructure and affect public safety. Communications have left inoperable for any period of time. Communications infrastructure is critical to all public safety, including county fire, EMS, Sheriff's Office, EMA, our city's law enforcement, and fire, along with state and regional agencies, including State Patrol, Forest Service, Department of Natural Resources, Flight, EMS services, and other Seagarden public safety members. The board has approved and spent millions building out and upgrading and maintaining our public safety communications infrastructure in the past. It would be a major loss to the community not to maintain it and let it fail. This agreement will ensure that the county's radio system infrastructure and 911 radio dispatch consoles are maintained and functional for the next year. The 2 alternatives are the board approve the service agreement with Motorola Solutions or not to approve the agreement with Motorola. Funding for this is a total of $145,694.44 to be paid in 12 monthly installments of $18,834, of which can be funded by 911 recovery fees collected, with the remaining $18,834 of this can be funded by 911 recovery fees, with the remaining $126,860 funded by the general fund. This remaining portion will have to come from fund balance, as this agreement was not received until after the budget time.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
We didn't have any kind of maintenance funding we had to do for the last several years.
The last few years we've been under warranty. This is the first year that we're actually out from under our warranty.
Under warranty, that's what's causing this issue.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from the board? Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I toured the facility, which is just want to say what they have to go through every day is incredible. It's, yeah, I'm sure you guys have, I'm appreciative, but it's, they need all the help they can get whenever we can give it to them. This is something I can see that it's ingrained.
We can't lose our system, so.
Was this time that Lee did not, our attorney did not look at last time?
Yes, that's what I think is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Just in case we had a chance.
Please look at it.
I did.
Okay.
No concerns? Okay. There's no further discussion. Do I have a motion to approve alternative 1?
Make a motion to approve order number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Roper, second by Mr. Burrett, to approve alternative 1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries. Item number 3, consideration to approve an agreement with Courtwork Solutions Incorporated for a server installed at the multi-agency call center.
Chris Reed, IT Director. The county recently installed a new CAD system at the multi-agency call center that the 911 dispatchers and the sheriff's office dispatchers use. One requirement for full CAD functionality is a direct connection to the state. This connection to the state is estimated to be around $800 per month and was thought to have existed prior to the CAD installation, but was not, and it was not budgeted in the CAD project. The connection is assigned by the state to the sheriff's office, but will be located at the multi-agency call center for CAD server access. Courtwork Solutions is a vendor that the sheriff's office and other county departments are currently conducting business with. To maintain their certification with the state, Courtwork Solutions is required to have 2 separate server locations within a law enforcement agency or a 911 center, along with connections to the state. The sheriff has signed an agreement with Courtwork Solutions as a sponsoring agency, allowing them access to the state network in accordance with the state required management control agreement. Courtwork Solutions is requesting permission to install a server, cabinet, and a server at the multi-agency call center and has agreed to pay for the state connection monthly for this ability. The server room at the multi-agency call center has the space, power, and cooling to accommodate another server cabinet and server and meets the requirements of the state. The terms of the agreement is from October 2019 for 1 year with 10 optional annual renewals. The county needs the connection to the state that is estimated to be around $800 per month for full CAD server functionality for public safety dispatching. Courtwork Solutions needs a location for one of their servers and has agreed to pay for the state connection monthly for this. The multi-agency call center has space, power, and cooling to accommodate another server cabinet and server, and the power cost is anticipated to be less than $2 per month. The alternatives board approved to allow agreement with Courtwork Solutions for a server installed at the multi-agency call center from October 2019 through October 2020, or option 2, board does not approve the agreement with Courtwork Solutions. Staff recommends alternate number 1.
Okay, this is in the budget. I see funding's not out, so it must be budgeted already.
There was no funding for this, for the state connection prior to this. If we allow Courtwork Solutions to install their server and access the line, then they'll pay for the line every month. Otherwise, the county's going to pay $800 a month.
Okay, very good. Any other question or discussion? A motion for alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed no. It carries. Item number 4, consideration to approve a resolution to amend fiscal year 2019-2020 budget.
Good evening, Christy Carpenter, Finance Director. In your packet, you have a copy of the resolution to amend the 20 budget. The amendment covers multiple departments and is an overall increase. The amendment includes a reduction to the Family Connection budget as ordered by the governor, a reallocation of SPOS expenses for parks and landscape, and funding of the just approved Motorola contract for E911 and EMA. Staff is recommending approval alternative number 1.
Any question or discussion? Do a motion to approve alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Deloach to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. It carries.
Thank you.
New business. We have a public hearing. The planning board recommends approving an application by Mindy Road for a variance used to allow for a reduced setback on the rear property line located at 144 Fifth Street, Clio, map 422, A parcel number 91 in the 3rd District. So we'll open a public hearing. Give us a lead on that.
Ms. Rowe didn't attend the planning board meeting either, but she is aware of everything that's being presented. And they suffered a total loss of her home, and she's requesting the variance for actually these, would be 50 foot on the front. I'm sorry, let me back up. The area is AR1, which is usually 5 acres of property, and these lots in this area are less than that. And so there's no way to beat the AR1 setbacks, but they're requesting the variance to place another home she already owns in another property. And it would be a 20 foot from the left property line and 50 foot from the front property line and 18 feet on the rear property line. So the front and the rear are the ones that would get the variance to set the home there that she already has and replace the burn room has already been demolished and hauled off. So staff review and recommend approval.
Help me, because I need a chance to do this, because what, there's a hardship. You know what I mean? You said.
Well, as it states in the ordinance, is variances can be granted with the recommendation from the planning board. Cases of a hardship, which are unique physical circumstances or conditions, including irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness of lot size or shape, which is what is taking place here.
Okay, this is narrowness of the lot size.
Very similar to the Marlowe situation in Canada, where you have that overlay.
Yeah, I talked to Ms. Rowe, and yeah, they're just trying to get her family back in place together as quick as can.
It would line up with neighboring housing, as you see on the plan that's included in your packet. They would line up on 5th Street, would basically line up together. And it would just go further back into her property.
So is anyone else speaking for this variance? Anyone here that would like to speak against this variance being approved? See now, I'll close the public hearing. If there's any no discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the staff will make more recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Kiefer, to approve staff and planning board recommendations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. Second reading to consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Mandy Road for a variance used to allow for a reduced setback on the rear property line located at 144 Fifth Street, Ohio, map number 422, parcel number 91 in the 3rd District.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Luker to approve the second reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries. Item number 3, consideration to approve a petition for annexation of approximately 4.44 acres into the city of Guyton, owned by Jerry and Thelma Joyner, located at 540 Broadway Road, map number 319, parcel 13.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, if you all would refer to the information in your packets, we received a letter of intent from the city of Guyton in September 2019. So this property is addressed as 540 Broadway Road, and it's stated in materials that it's to be served by a well and individual septic system. The city of Guyton approved this annexation of this parcel on September 10th. The tract is currently zoned R1. And there is a map in your information that shows this parcel being contiguous with other properties within the city of Guyton.
It's contiguous and 100%, right?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or discussions? I don't know that you need to say anything, but you're welcome to.
Then I won't have to.
Is there a motion to approve? Is it other than the alternative one? To approve the annexation, yeah, alternative one?
Make a motion to approve order number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Loach to approve alternate one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it is considered,
Thank you.
and they do all filings. Item number 4, consideration to approve agreement for drainage easement by between the Effingham County Board of Commissioners and Joyce S. Tootin located off of Barton Road.
Good evening, Teresa Kincannon, County Planner. Mrs. Tootin came to, she approached us earlier this year in the summer to ask about the county formalizing what had been an informal handshake type of agreement for a drainage easement on her property. And so Clyde Dyson from Public Works went out and checked it and determined that it would be a valuable part of the county drainage system, that we should, now that we have the opportunity, formalize that arrangement. So easement agreement has been prepared by the county attorney. A plat showing the easement has been provided by Mrs. Tootin, and we're asking you tonight to approve alternative 1, which is to approve and sign the easement agreement.
Any questions or discussion? Motion to approve alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1, second.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve alternative 1. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. It carries.
All right.
Number 5, consideration to approve a final plat and warranty deed for Saddle Club at Belmont Land, Phase 3B, located off Hodgesville Road, consisting of 24 lot, map 416, parcel number 20B in the 2nd district.
So as you see, this is a plat or a phase of Saddle Club at Belmont Glen. Engineering staff have reviewed the final plat. They have inspected the site and they recommend acceptance. We have the warranty bond, we have the deed, we have the final plat. So everything has checked out. Staff has reviewed the final plat and checklist, and so we were recommending acceptance. So that would be alternative 1.
Okay, any questions or discussion from the board? Have a motion?
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Here, one second. Okay, have a motion, I believe, by Mr. Burdette. Who was the second? Okay, second by Mr. Ford. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Item number 6, consideration to approve the applications for a grant award from Georgia Trauma Care Network for approximately $3,630.77.
Good evening, Wanda McDuffie, the EMS Director. This is an annual grant that we've been getting from the Georgia Trauma Commission for the last 10, 12 years. This year they're offering us $3,630.77. That's distributed to us. It's based on $726.15 per ambulance in the state of Georgia. So we have 5 and 911 trucks, and that's how they came up with our price. This is a reimbursement grant, time sensitive, so we have to purchase the items. So there's a list of selected items that we're allowed to purchase. Once we purchase those, and we send them the invoice, they will reimburse us. So free money.
I love free money. Thank you.
I love free money too.
Thank you. You said you always bring us a little bit of grant here and there, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And all that IMS does.
So please accept amendment number 1. Alternate number 1, I mean.
Yeah. Do you have a motion to approve alternative number 1?
Make a motion.
Mr. Burdette makes a motion to alternative 1, second.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Thank you, Juan. Number 7, consideration to approve a tax refund request by Wesley Allen Gunn for a property located at 502 Lakeview Drive at number 246, Marshall 674, the 5th District.
Jennifer Keyes, Tax Assessor's Office. Mr. Gunn came to our office March 2019 and informed us that his home at 502 Lakeview Drive did not have a bonus room over the garage. We did go back and we did remove the bonus room for the 2018 digest and forward. Mr. Gunn has never filed a tax return or an appeal on this property. With the window over the garage, it's assumed that there was a bonus room above that. We do not receive permits from the city of Rincon, so we only could verify when we were able to have access to the home. So we did go through, we did make those adjustments when he did let us know about the bonus room, and we moved forward with that. We are recommending that the refund be denied. He did not do his due diligence. He did not file a tax return like is required by law, January 1st through April 1st, and he never filed an appeal on that property to let us know.
Okay, so you're not recommending any refund at all, even for the current year or anything?
No, we went through and we refunded him for 18 and then forward. He's requesting back years.
So for 18 forward, he's, okay.
He is. He is.
I guess one of the issues that I appreciate that you're doing in this recommendation, just so the board knows, that when we set our millage rate and our taxes, we expect to cover our costs. And if that value goes down, we don't get those taxes. So it's a deficit to our budget every time we have an adjustment. I assume the information that went out to the taxpayer, if they in due diligence, they would see that there would be taxed for this square footage or not?
The tax notice that goes out does not have square footage, but it does have information on there. It gives the fair market value, the assessment notice. Assessment notices are sent out every year.
I understand, yeah.
On our website, it does have the square footage.
Website has it, and if you think the value is with or without it, if you think it's too high, that's when you should place the appeal and do the research. That's the due diligence you're saying
Yes.
that didn't take place. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Gunn has reached out, and I tried to call him with Connect. I guess he's living out of state.
Yes.
But have a chance to talk with him.
Well, I understand, I'm on board with your recommendation over the board will be for those two reasons. One, it does affect our bottom line dollars when they don't do the proper appeal process. It hurts us, and which are our constituents. And secondly, you look at value and you decide if there's something you need to make a phone call on or appeal. That's my thoughts. Any other questions or discussions? So you are recommending alternative number 2 not to approve the tax refund. So I'm asked to have a motion for alternative number 2.
Make a motion to approve alternative number 2.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Deloach to approve alternative number 2. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any carries.
Thank
you
you.
so much. Item number 8, consideration to approve a construction material testing and special inspection proposal for Whitaker Laboratory for the Clarence Morgan Recreation Complex Gymnasium.
Good evening, Fiona Charlton, purchasing agent. Construction materials testing and special inspections need to be conducted during construction of the new gymnasium by a third-party inspector per building code. Our contracted design engineers, Hussey Gabel, solicited proposals from 3 companies, Whitaker Labs, Terracon Labs and ECS. Proposals were received from Whitaker and ECS. Terracon declined due to their workload. The proposed amounts are Whitaker Labs $29,295 and ECS $35,431.48. As Whitaker will be working as a sub-consultant to HGB, there is a 10% markup to their fee per the design contract, bringing it to $32,225. The proposal is an allowance based on estimated number of trips and tests, therefore the county will only be billed for actual time and materials. As the county attorney has reviewed and approved the form to approved to form the proposal, and funding is available in the current budget, so I'd recommend alternative 1. Any questions?
32 would be the max, it could be less.
It could be less, yes, sir.
Any other questions or discussion? Have a motion to approve alternative 1.
Motion to approve alternative 1. Second.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker, second by Mr. Keeper to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any carries. Item number 9, consideration to approve a short list of 5 general contractors and issue a request for bid packets for the construction of the new gymnasium at the Clarence Morgan Recreation Center.
The county has been working on plans for a new centralised recreation facility since May of 2014. The first phase is well underway, with the gymnasium construction being the next step. A request for qualifications for general contractor services for construction of the gym was posted in the usual places and sent to known vendors. 16 vendors attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting, and statements of qualifications were received from 10, one of which did not meet the request for qualifications specifications. The 9 remaining firms were scored by a committee to determine the most qualified companies. The score sheets are in your packets, and the list is as follows, ranked from high to low. Lavender and Associates, Pope Construction Company, R.W. Allen, CPPI of Georgia, Garbutt Construction Company, Fraser Construction Company, Brantley Construction Company, C. Merrill Construction, Copper Construction Company. Staff are requesting that the top 5 companies be approved to receive a request to submit a bid to build the gymnasium. As the request to bid has been reviewed and approved by the County Attorney and no funds are required for this step in the process, staff recommend alternative number 1. Any questions?
Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Loper to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries.
Thank you.
And number 10, consideration to approve a proposal related to medical insurance, changes on dental and vision coverage, long-term disability, COBRA, and flex spending administration.
Good evening, Vicki Dunn, HR Director. Yes, sir, we have been working on our insurance renewal. In October, we got the final numbers from our agent of record and put together this proposal. Our medical insurance, we received quotes from Humana, United Healthcare, and Anthem. The original quote from Anthem was 18%. Humana came in at 19%, and United Healthcare came in at 19.9%. But with the increases from Humana and from United Healthcare, there were changes to our plan. Anthem came back in with it down to 12.5 with absolutely no changes to our medical insurance plan. The deductibles, copays, everything stays the same. We did budget a 10% increase for our medical insurance this year, but it came in at 12.5. The final rate from Anthem was at 12.5. So we think that we're going to need about another additional $60,000 to pay for the additional 2.5% that we did not budget for. The rate increase is directly tied to the number of our high-cost claims we have had during this calendar year. We did also look at going self-funded on our medical insurance, but based solely on our high-cost claims and the potential that they'll carry over to 2020, it was recommended by the broker that we not move to self-funded plan in 2020, but possibly look at it again in 2021. Our dental insurance, we asked for a change to our dental insurance in 2020, adding adult orthodontia coverage. We received quotes from MetLife, The Standard, United Concordia, and Anthem. Anthem came back with the addition of the orthodontia coverage for adults with no increase to our current premiums or any change to the plan. MetLife, The Standard, and United Concordia all came back with our same plan package and with the adult orthodontia at lower costs. After review of all their proposals, we recommended that we go with MetLife for our dental coverage in 2020. MetLife again matched our current plan exactly as we have it. They added the adult orthodontia and they also, the annual maximum is $1,750 as opposed to $1,500 we have now. And they're guaranteeing their rates until December 2021, so that gives us a 2-year lock-in on dental. Vision insurance, we had not requested a change to our vision insurance, but we did get quotes from MetLife, Sun Life, Lincoln Financial, and Anthem. Again, Anthem came back with no increase to our current premiums or any change to our plans. MetLife, The Standard, and United Concordia all came back with lower cost than Anthem. After review of the proposals, we recommend MetLife for our vision coverage in 2020. MetLife again has matched our current plan exactly, and it's costing us less. And MetLife is guaranteeing those rates through December 31, 2021. On our short and long-term disability coverage, they were not up for renewal, but we did ask for a change to our long-term disability. Currently, our long-term disability maximum payment per month is $3,000 per month. The industry standard is $5,000 per month. Anthem has agreed to increase our maximum to $5,000 per month with no increase in our costs. And then on COBRA and Flex Spending Administration, our COBRA administration is currently handled by Anthem, and our Flex Spending is handled by WageWorks. We asked USI to provide a proposal for these 2 administrative services, looking for one provider that could administer both programs, preferably for less cost. USI came back to us with a proposal from Infinisource that satisfies all of our requirements. Right now, we are not paying any COBRA costs for COBRA services from Anthem, because when we went with Blue Cross or Anthem, we had the bundle package, so they didn't charge us any cost for COBRA. Because we are switching now and going with MetLife, recommending we go with MetLife for our vision and dental, there'll be an extra fee of COBRA that they will charge because it's a different insurance company. And in addition, they will start billing us because we're considered a large group now. So anything over 300 employees, they would charge us $7.50 per employee per month for COBRA administration. Infinisource is going to come in and do the flex spending program as well as the COBRA services, and we would cut our cost by approximately 40% based on what we would be paying COBRA or Anthem for the COBRA services, and then what we currently pay WageWorks for the flex spending plan. Staff recommends alternative 2, and I can go over the cost differences with you if you would like that information.
It says we're going to share the cost with versus one sharing the cost with our employees.
Yes, sir. The increase. The increase.
Right. What does that mean?
That means that on the increases that we have for the different benefit levels, that the amount of the difference will be shared between the commission and the Board of Commissioners and the employees. The Board of Commissioners we're going to take the 10% that we budgeted for, put that towards the increase, and then the employees are actually going to pick up 12.5%.
2.5.
1.25.
1.25.
Half of
the half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So not half of that 60.
No, sir.
So it's really a small amount.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And
it's like
what's
$3,000 or something, $1,500 spread over all the employees that are on here. 60 is our total cost increase on 12.
Well, it's over budget, 60.
Over budget.
So
Okay.
it's-
So it's about 30,000 that they'll be sharing with us. Over 300 employees.
I think that's about right, yeah.
Mhm.
Correct, so 2.5% is 60,000.
Yeah.
So
30,000 over 300 employees, it's
So,
$100 an
yeah,
employee.
multiply that by 4, so it's 300,000 probably is your total increase year over year.
Yes, sir.
And then of that, the county will be basically covering do I have that right, 90%? 11.2, 90% of that total increase, the county will be covering 90% of that increase, with the employees covering 10. So 90-10 split. So 30,000 total is what all the employees cover of the increase in premium. Will be covering 270,000.
Any questions or discussion on the board?
Yeah, the change in the COBRA.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you said, because we're changing that, it's because we're changing the vision and dental.
Yes, sir.
It still makes it worthwhile, the savings we get on the dental.
Yes, sir. The way Anthem would bill us for that, if we stayed with Anthem, is because we're at over 300 employees, which puts us at the large employer bracket, they're going to charge $7.50 for monitoring that. And
So
then
that was
an
gonna go
additional,
up anyway.
right.
Okay.
But then an additional, because we're moving to a different provider, would be $12.50 per employee for them to manage the COBRA for the dental and vision. So it would be very, very expensive.
I was just misunderstanding.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you. This is very thorough. It's very well thought out. There's a lot of negotiation going into it, obviously. Even in some areas where we've got better coverage, it's at no cost. So it's
Yes, sir. It's very,
well done.
I think with I'd have to share the limelight with Mr. Callanan and with Christie also. We've worked together on this, and I think we got a good quotes and good plan put together for our employees. We're not changing anything as far as the coverages are concerned, with very small increase to our employees.
She can take all the credit.
Well, some increase in coverage.
Sir?
Some increase in coverage.
Yeah, the disability.
Only on the medical.
Average is what we should be getting, and we get.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, on medical, it's.
Without any increase in coverage in premiums and all. So
Right. And then I look at, the employees will save a little bit of money on their dental and vision to offset the increase on the medical. So I think it's a win-win for both us and the employees, the county and the employees.
Yes, and the vision. That's so easy, I can't see that.
Sir?
More advantage of this.
2020 vision.
I'm sorry?
Oh, no.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for your.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Any other discussion? So we have a motion for alternative.
I make a motion to approve alternative number six.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Burdette for alternative number 2. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consideration to approve a work authorization with Integrated Science Engineering for scope work associated with environmental remediation of that site.
Sure. In April of 2019, Effingham County entered into a contract to purchase a property at 2016 Shady Oaks Drive in Dayton from Savannah Abrasives and Filter Corp. And extended the due diligence period until April 20. The county also owns approximately 350 acres adjacent to that property. Both sites require environmental remediation under 2 separate programs administered by Georgia EPD. Staff had requested a total estimated cost, including worst-case estimates, to bring this to completion. I've included in there the estimates that, of costs associated with entering the county-owned property into the Georgia VRP program and the Arnold property into the Georgia Brownfield program. And the scope of services range from the application process for both programs, groundwater and soil sampling, groundwater modeling, deep groundwater installation surveys, construction bid documents and review, field engineering and inspections, status reporting, and also brownfield and VRP groundwater monitoring long-term. This does not include the excavation or legal fees. After reviewing the proposal, staff recommends alternative 1, which is to approve the work authorization with integrated science and engineering.
Do we put a dollar amount on the motion?
Yeah, I'm thinking, based on what we've been discussing, this is that first phase. There's a lot in this proposal.
Correct.
We don't want to approve all this site excavation. We want to approve that for that first $100,000.
For the first, how much?
I think that was the high side. It could be first 50. The estimated high side was $100,000.
And we can do that. We can start off with that and then come back and have a report by Dan Davis of Integrated Science to tell us the progress we've had on that first allocation.
So how can we structure this in a motion that says that approve the work authorized by Integrated Science? We don't approve all the work.
We can approve the application process and the testing.
The testing. Say that real clearly in the microphone for the motion to witness.
Make a motion to approve the brownfield application process with soil testing up to $100,000 in cost.
Okay, so you're not actually approving a work authorization. Would it be better to revise the authorization and
Bring it
bring it back?
We are on a slight time crunch here because of the.
This would approve, if there had to be one, this would approve the chairman.
Can't we approve what we have here up to 100,000, just to give them direction what to do? Approve this, what we have here up to 100,000.
$100,000, and if you'll give the chairman or the manager, the county administrator, the discretion to
Right,
choose
give them
those.
direction what to do.
Okay. Because I know what we're trying to do is get to that point where the is not left. That's, whatever they have, they used to pay $50,000 to $100,000 to get that done.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna approve this alternative one up to $100,000 for service at this time. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
All right. You have any motion to approve, alternative one up to the amount of $100,000. Service.
I'll make a motion to approve alternative one up to $100,000.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Loper, approve alternative one up to $100,000 for services. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries. Are you okay with that? Is that clear?
Yes.
Thank you. Contract number 12 is tabled. However, I would like if you give us a little update on that, and
Sure.
we're looking to come back and address it.
Absolutely. I'm requesting that we table this until the November 19th meeting. I will reach out first to different parties on this, maybe provide a little bit clarification on the proposal itself, and then reach out to the commissioners with any feedback. The spatial, if we move forward with it on the 19th, to put it on the agenda, we'll have a presentation as well.
I appreciate your work on this because we know it's a priority to get our GIS. Okay, item number 13, consideration to approve to issue a contract to IWBP doing business as Davis Heating and Air, provide and install replace HVAC unit for the jail block A and B. We just approved the air conditioner for jail.
We did.
This another one?
This is another one.
We're going to wait till May for this. It says HVAC, so I guess that's everything.
Fiona Charlton, purchasing agent. The HVAC units for jail blocks A and B have been failing for some time. Facilities maintenance have kept the units running to try and avoid the cost of a replacement, but it is no longer cost effective to continue those repairs. A request for quote was issued to furnish and install new units for blocks A and B. The request was advertised in the usual places and sent to known vendors. 7 bids were received and were reviewed for completeness. IWBP, doing business as Davis Heating and Air, was determined to be the bidder who offers the best solution for the county, with a bid of $46,730.30, which is complete for all the work.
How did that compare to the last one we built? Is it the same size, same seal and everything? Is it, you know?
I am sorry, I have no idea.
Just be interested to know what we bought last time. It was about the same number. I just didn't know.
I think it was about 23,000 apiece, I think.
Yeah, this is expensive. Okay. All right, any other questions? Is there a motion for alternative one?
Motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Burdette, second by Mr. Floyd for alternative one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries.
Thank you.
Next item, number 14, is the table to the 19th, so we'll move down to number 15. Consideration to approve the first reading of an ordinance to amend Appendix C, zoning ordinance Article 9, and amend amendments to map or text, Section 9.1 of the Effingham County Code of Ordinances.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, at the last meeting, you all requested of the county attorney to revise this section of the ordinance to allow for ordinance amendments to come directly to the board or opposed to going through the planning board. So this will be the first reading for the amendment of that ordinance, and the second reading will be on November 19th. The ordinance was drafted by the county attorney, and staff recommends approval.
I'm sure it's right.
Yes, sir.
Any questions or discussion? Do you have a motion to approve alternative number one?
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Floyd for alternative one. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Thank you for taking care of that. Consideration to approve to adopt a budget resolution, set the 2020 qualification fees. Huh?
Number 16, you skipped 16.
That's what I did. I'm reading it now. Consideration to approve to adopt a budget resolution to set 2020 qualification fees. Did I miss something?
My apologies. I was here in the resolution for the budget, the next item, I'm sorry.
No. Okay, for special election.
Yes, sir. So I was contacted by our election supervisor. There's going to be a special election for the Board of Education for the 4th District seat. So we need to establish those qualifying fees for that special election, which is going to be held on March 24th of 2020. Qualifying fees is 3% of the base salary of that position, and that equates to be $132. So staff, $132.
Okay.
Staff recommends approval of the resolution.
So the school board, we got to hold an election and pay for it.
No. No, we don't. We don't. School board has to fund it, correct?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We just have to set, or you have to set fees.
We have set fees.
Very good. I was just gonna call Randy and give him a hard time. We got to pay for a special election. All right, sounds good. Any questions? Motion for alternative number.
Make motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lucas, second by Mr. Lewis, for alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries. Next one was removed from the agenda because it will follow the item we tabled earlier. Item number 18, consideration to approve the second reading of amendment, Article 2, definition, Article 3, general provisions, and Article 5, uses permitted in districts of the Effingham County Code of Ordinances.
The staff and the Board of Commissioners found it necessary to revise these areas of the county ordinance to include provisions and guidelines for junkyards. The proposed ordinance includes verbiage defining junkyards and zoning districts for which they are to be allowed or not allowed. Said use will not be allowed in B3 zoning districts as a conditional use and will be removed from heavy industrial as a permitted use. This section is being included to allow junkyards as a conditional use under heavy industrial. The draft of the ordinance was compiled by the county attorney, and the staff recommends approval. Alternative number 1 to approve.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Do I have a motion to approve alternative one?
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Floyd to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. It carries.
Thank you for your work on that also. Appreciate it.
Okay, and now we can move into another business to our reports from our administrative staff and commissioners.
And thank you for your
Administrative.
I have one quick thing. I'll shoot out an email tonight. We have an application deadline for the coastal incentive grant. There's about there's 4 projects that we've kind of narrowed it down. Baker Pond Park needs resurfacing the walking trails. Albert Horn Boat Ramp to get a bathroom, like Lawn Bridge, walking trail from Hall Park, and Steel Bridge Bank improvements. We're trying to get this on the 19th agenda to meet the deadline, but feedback would be appreciated. So We'll put something on the agenda at the agenda meeting on Thursday, but I'll email out the list tonight.
Tim, clerk, you have a report tonight?
Yes, sir. Really quickly, lots of reminders. So on December the 11th is the April Issues Breakfast. It's going to be held right across the street this time. It is not at the Career Academy. Don't go there. It will be at the local memorial right across the street.
When is that?
On December 11th.
11 and 11.
That's 12/11. Yeah, not 11, 12/11.
Oh, this is
The AIDS and Issues Breakfast.
Oh, I was thinking memorial service.
The memorial service is December 11th.
It's 11 and 11.
Unless it falls on a Sunday, they don't do that, since they're not interfering with church there, which happened last year.
I'm sure they'll appreciate having some of you there as well. I know you will be, Commissioner. Okay, we received notification for USDA Georgia Community Prosperity Training Summit that will be held at Richmond Hill City Center on November 21st. It's from 9 to 5. If you are interested in attending that, they do require registration, so if you can review that material and see if it's something that you're interested in, and let me know, I'll be happy to get you registered.
What's the date?
It is November 21st. That's a Thursday. Okay, and as you all are aware, the historical marker for the central site has been approved by the Historic Society. They're trying to establish a date for the dedication. The date that's been proposed is April 9th. It's my understanding that that is the date that that school opened at that site, so they would like to have the dedication on that date. I know that's a long way off, but just to kind of get it on your mind, it's April 9th. No time.
We'll need a reminder on that.
Absolutely, multiple times. Effingham Day at the Capitol. This is all stuff in the future that we need to know it so we can, this always goes really quickly as far as hotels and things of that nature, so we need to get it in our mind. This year it's actually February. It's February the 10th, so it's not in January. February 10th for Effingham Day. And there's going to be a meeting with GDOT on the 10th at 1 o'clock. And then the actual Effingham Day will be, at the Capitol, will be on the 11th.
Now, usually the county administrator chairs that discussion with the GDOT. That's still kind of lead that discussion.
I haven't heard those details yet. I'm not sure.
I can get with Tim and the board, but usually I think we lead that discussion. Cities are there. We usually lead that discussion about projects. Hopefully we'll have some information.
I don't know how we're doing it. Last thing I have is the December 17th commission meeting. That's around Christmas time. It's usually fairly quiet for us as staff. People travel around that time, so I didn't know if you all were interested in canceling that meeting or how you wanted to move forward with that. If there is interest, we can put it on our next agenda.
Ms. Fowle, the planning board presentments, would you put those off, or what? That would be the only.
The planning board meeting in December should have been changed, but I don't know what that date is. What's the December date?
That'd be the November presentments from planning board, right?
November should be changed as well.
Okay.
It's close to, is it? Because it's like right after Thanksgiving.
The November 25th for the November one.
And you're moving forward with that meeting?
The December, I don't.
Okay.
Well, we wouldn't get the December presentments till January.
Until January, right. What we could do, if you determine it now, that you want to cancel that meeting, we could do everything on the first meeting in December. And we'll have time to advertise it if you go with canceling it.
I know last year, it was on the 18th, that meeting, and it was the board's practice to council, I will be here, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be here too.
I'm not going anywhere, but I didn't want to propose my thoughts on it.
Canceling it.
If I'm canceling it. I think they
We
did
don't
that.
think we're having a lot of, problem.
Last year, if I recall, and we've always canceled it, we always said if we need a special call meeting, we would call it.
In case something needs to be handled before the end of the year for some
We'll
reason.
have a 30-minute, 1-hour meeting, maybe a week or something. The only business that fire or human resources or somebody's got to handle, will take care of it for you. But, is that, do we want to entertain a motion tonight, or is it going to be on next month?
I'll put it on the next agenda.
Okay. So we build an agenda to eliminate the December 17th meeting and honor my birthday on that day.
Is that your birthday?
My birthday.
No change from November.
No change to this.
No change.
Okay, any issues?
No, sir, that's it.
All right. Anything from the rest of our staff?
December meeting, was on the 16th with the landlord.
You moved it up a week, that's good.
So that would change everything.
Maybe on my list.
That would push it.
Yes. Anything from the staff? Okay. I still need to give it to you, Tim, and see where we are on the SDS and that final proposal. So y'all can make that happen in the next couple of days or first of next week, that would be great. I'm going to be gone for another week. Mr. Reggie, you have anything for us tonight?
No, I'm glad to see they're working on Mob Road. It only took 10 years to get paid.
Persistent gets it done.
Thank you, Tim. It brought me today coming down here. We had a road blocked. I said, work, I'll be right here.
Watch it. Yes, sir.
2 things. Tim, just want to throw this out there. I guess we just think about it for a little bit, but just see if, do we want to have a retreat, maybe Saturday, Sunday before Effingham Day in the Capitol? I know we did that once in the past, just an idea. And second of all, do we want to put, since the next agenda meeting is on Thursday, do we want to be able to put just a discussion item on the bank, just to have, just so we continue to have that conversation?
Yeah, I would hope on this next agenda we'll have a proposal. And then at that time, maybe we can discuss, you're talking about the calendar, what we do for next. Yeah, on this next agenda, I'm hoping, we need executive session tonight at the end of this, by the way, just to cover that. If y'all can in there for a little bit longer on the board. Get an update on the building, but then we should do it on the 19th agenda. We're about running out of time on that contract, I believe.
Yeah, I'm good.
So are we entertaining a retreat for February?
Well, I just want to throw it out there. I mean, I don't know, we may not want to, but we're going to be together during that time.
Sunday, anyway, coming that Saturday. Yeah, I thought about the same thing, but I like the idea, let Tim look and see what could be gained and follow up to the things we asked about and looking at. It might be a good follow-up to see where we are. What tweaks do we need to do to the things we did our last planning meeting?
Sure. Yeah, and we can take a look at that last action item list. The first thing we do is basically report on where we stand on that,
Yep.
and then just start anew.
Yep.
So I actually think we made a tremendous amount of progress on most things on that list. I was looking at last week, so.
If we did that, that would be great, and then look and see if there's anything we need to tweak in the next few months. I like the idea of possibly a planning retreat, that's the 2 or 3 days like we did, but then one day just to see where we are, as we're on to check where we're at. We're going too fast and too rapid, and if we get some things in place that we're really working on, we're gonna need to do that for the next 3 or 4 years, just to make sure we're on top of it. Good suggestion, thank you.
Just an update, anything else on Belgium with the noise issue over there, if you heard from those folks?
I got, to update everyone, there's, with the Interport sawmill, we sent code enforcement out there after complaints from residents, got some higher than permitted decibel levels in the residential receiving areas. reported them to Interfor. Within the code, there's an option for them to hire an outside firm to do a sound study. They've opted for that. I've talked to the gentleman doing that, and I'll follow up to see if he's already met with the residents out there, because that's one of the things he said he was going to do. And I talked to Mr. Lane about that. I have to make sure that he's actually followed up on that and met with him. I think he was going to try and meet with him this week. So, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes from there. But technically, they'll have 14 days to bring themselves into compliance. I believe from the date of the initial report of violation warning. So I should have a report, which I'll send out an email as soon as I talk to the Mr. Lane or the consultant.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Anything from our EOM or anybody?
Sir.
Mr. Brett, you hung in there to the end. You have anything for us? Yes, sir. I need to give you just 1 minute before going to executive session again. Just a minute. All right. I have a motion to go back in executive session to discuss properties on the item.
Make a motion to go into executive session, discuss personnel, property, and pending litigation.
Okay, motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Welcome to executive session. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It carries. I have a motion to go back into regular session.
Make a motion to go into regular session.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. DeRoche, to go into regular session. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. It carries. And we have a consideration to approve the October 15th, 2019 and the October 24th, 2019 executive session minutes. A motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Mr. Kiefer and second by Mr. Roach to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have one clarification.
Oh.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that we're clear on something on the junkyard ordinance.
Okay.
What?
The junkyard ordinance.
No.
Yes.
Okay, this was item number 18. It was in reference to the junkyard ordinance. In the new section that we proposed, 5.12.1B, heavy industrial conditional uses, we just want to insert the word junkyard into that paragraph. So it'll be the first sentence, and then you're going to insert the word junkyard, and then the next paragraph will be brought down. The Board of Commissioners and Planning Board in reviewing the conditional use application may consider the following factors. So we just left out the word junkyard in that paragraph, so that's the only change.
So it highlights it as a point of clarification so that you'll know that junkyard is a conditional use.
Correct. I understand that heavy industrial, it was going to be a conditional use in the future, not a.
Correct. That was the understanding. It just
It just didn't say
wasn't in
junkyard.
there. Correct.
Okay, all right, so no, we don't need to amend the motion or anything, just for clarification. We are making sure that it's talking about junkyards are conditional use in heavy industrial.
Yes.
That's recorded, so we're good. Okay. All right, and then a motion to adjourn from Mr. Loper.
Second.
Second from Mr. Deloach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,